In America's gilded history, no name evokes wealth and power quite like Rockefeller. Behind the billions and beneath the legacy lies a tale of ambition, cunning, and transformation that few truly understand. By 1937, John D. Rockefeller's fortune represented an astonishing 1.5% of America's entire economic output. Today, that would be equivalent to approximately $400 billion, a sum that dwarfs even the wealthiest individuals on current Forbes lists. Yet somehow, this colossal fortune seems to have vanished from public view. The Rockefeller name no longer dominates discussions of extreme wealth. What happened? Did the money evaporate, or did it simply transform? John Davison Rockefeller's story begins not with silver spoons, but with contradictions. Born in 1839 to a traveling salesman father with questionable ethics and a devoutly religious mother, young John's character was forged in this crucible of opposing values. From his mother, he inherited discipline, frugality, and religious devotion. From his father, William Avery Rockefeller, a self-proclaimed botanic physician who sold elixirs of questionable value, John learned the harsh realities of business. William was known to cheat his own children in business dealings, claiming it made them sharp and taught them valuable lessons about a world eager to take advantage of the naive. This peculiar education would shape Rockefeller's approach to business, ruthlessly efficient, yet guided by a moral framework that justified his actions as ultimately serving a greater good. By 16, Rockefeller was working as a bookkeeper in Cleveland, meticulously recording every transaction. His employers were careless with pennies, but Rockefeller wasn't. He understood a fundamental truth that would later make him the richest man in modern history. The secret to wealth isn't making dollars. It's accumulating and compounding pennies. Most men scoff at small numbers. Rockefeller revered them. This early lesson in the power of small gains would become the cornerstone of his business philosophy. While others chased grand schemes and quick riches, Rockefeller focused on efficiency and incremental advantage. Each penny saved or earned became part of a greater mathematical equation, one that would eventually compute to unprecedented wealth. The boy who once counted pennies for his church offerings would apply this same meticulous attention to building Standard Oil. His contradictory upbringing, combining his mother's moral rigidity with his father's cutthroat pragmatism, created a businessman who could ruthlessly dominate an industry while sincerely believing he served a higher purpose. When oil was discovered in Pennsylvania in 1859, most saw a messy, unpredictable boom and bust commodity. Rockefeller saw something else entirely, an opportunity for the methodical mind to bring order to chaos and extract unprecedented wealth in the process. While others rushed to drill for oil, Rockefeller made a crucial observation. Whoever controlled refineries controlled the industry. In 1870, he founded Standard Oil. What followed was perhaps the most aggressive business expansion in American history. His approach to competition was as simple as it was effective. You can sell to me today at a fair price, or compete with me tomorrow at no price. His tactics were ruthless: secret railroad rebates, predatory pricing, industrial espionage. He didn't just want success, he wanted domination. By 1880, Standard Oil controlled 90% of America's oil refining. By 1900, Rockefeller was on his way to becoming the world's first billionaire in actual dollars, not adjusted for inflation. This was unprecedented wealth in human history, accumulated through a business model that rewarded efficiency but punished any who stood in its path. As his fortune grew, so did public scrutiny. The term robber baron was coined for men like him, industrial titans whose methods seemed to trample competition and democracy alike. Yet Rockefeller saw himself as a deeply moral man. He gave 10% of his earnings to the church from his very first paycheck. He believed his success was divine providence, that God had given him the ability to create wealth so that he might use it for good. The day of combination is here to stay, he would say. Individualism has gone, never to return. In his view, the consolidation of industry wasn't evil, but inevitable and beneficial. Unity in commerce brings efficiency, lower prices, and progress. What appears ruthless today will be seen as visionary tomorrow. The government finally moved against Standard Oil in 1911, breaking the monopoly into 34 separate companies, but something unexpected happened. Rockefeller held stock in all these new entities. and as they competed and grew independently, his wealth actually increased. The irony was profound. The man who had consolidated an industry became richer when it was forcibly diversified. But more importantly, Rockefeller learned a critical lesson. The rules of wealth generation were changing. While the Great Depression destroyed fortunes built on industrial monopolies, the Rockefellers pivoted. They moved from oil into finance, real estate, and philanthropic trusts. John D. Rockefeller Jr. oversaw the construction of Rockefeller Center during the depths of the Depression, a statement of confidence in America's future and a symbol of the family's evolution. This wasn't merely diversification, it was transformation. The family was creating a new kind of power, less visible but perhaps more enduring. As Rockefeller Jr. understood, the old century was about building. The new century will be about managing, not just wealth, but influence. By the mid-20th century, the Rockefeller influence had become institutional. The family created or funded organizations that shaped American policy, education, and culture. The Council on Foreign Relations, the University of Chicago, the Museum of Modern Art. David Rockefeller, grandson of John D., became chairman of Chase Manhattan Bank. Banking proved to be the perfect instrument for the family's evolving approach to power. Less about owning things, more about controlling the flow of capital that allowed things to be built. Where his grandfather acquired and his father built, David's role was to connect, creating networks of influence that spanned business, politics, and international relations. Today, the collective Rockefeller fortune is estimated at around $8 to $10 billion, a fraction of the patriarch's peak wealth. But focusing on this number misses the larger story. The Rockefeller family pioneered a transition that many ultra-wealthy families would later follow, from concentrated industrial ownership to diversified financial influence, from conspicuous wealth to strategic philanthropy. So what happened to the Rockefeller fortune? The answer is complex. Some was given away, approximately $500 million in John D.'s lifetime alone, equivalent to billions in today's dollars, with billions more through subsequent generations. Some was diluted through inheritance across 75 descendants. But much of it was deliberately restructured into forms less visible to public scrutiny: trusts, foundations, real estate holdings, and privately held companies. The measurable Rockefeller fortune may have diminished, but the Rockefeller influence transformed. Financial experts suggest that when we ask where the Rockefeller money went, we're asking the wrong question. We should ask how wealth itself has changed. The richest families today don't just accumulate assets, they build systems. John D. Rockefeller understood what few in his time did, that counting pennies mattered. His descendants learned something equally valuable, that adapting to changing financial landscapes matters even more. The true significance of the Rockefeller story isn't just how one man amassed unprecedented wealth, it's how a family transformed that wealth into a multi-generational enterprise of influence. As new fortunes rise in technology and global commerce, the question remains, will they last as long, and in what form? Rockefeller himself might have answered this way. I was often asked if there is a secret to wealth. Indeed there is, but it isn't what most suspect. The secret isn't in acquisition, but in transformation. Not in hoarding, but in flow. Money, like oil, must move to maintain its power. Perhaps that's the final lesson of the Rockefeller saga. In a world of constant change, even the mightiest fortunes must evolve or evaporate. The Rockefellers didn't simply preserve wealth, they reinvented it, proving that true financial power lies not in what you own, but in what you understand.